another issue with emotions, and it's called disassociation. And disassociation is the way in which your emotions are suppressed. And with disassociation, it's when the ego, mind, personality part of you separates itself from an experience that it can't emotionally deal with. So it's like, here you are as a child, and you're listening to mum and dad arguing, and all this emotion, sadness, anger, this fear is coming up, and you may only be 3 or 4 years of age, and it's just too overwhelming. And the child doesn't know how to deal with it. And the only way it can really deal with it is to disconnect from it. And so we shut down that feeling, we push it away. In that instance, it was probably the best thing to do, because that child could have become sick, it could have had an accident, something, more serious could happen. By pushing it away, it doesn't mean that it's gone, it just means you've stored it, you've pushed it down, and now you can carry on with your life and be okay. But if this arguing with mum and dad occurred over long periods of time, and then you spent lots of experiences in pushing away the feelings and pushing away the emotions, even though this is the ego's mechanism for protecting itself, it's basically disconnecting you from your feelings. In the first instance, you pushing it away and protecting yourself is actually a positive thing. It's like a caterpillar needing to spin a cocoon around itself to protect itself. So from the perspective of the caterpillar, the cocoon is a positive thing. It needs this cocoon to protect itself from the world until it matures. From the perspective of the child, pushing away the emotions, storing the emotions, disconnecting from the emotions is a mechanism for survival, because at that time the overwhelm, the feeling of all this stuff happening was just too much for it to deal with. And so it has a positive for the child. The problem is you're no longer a child. And so from the perspective of the adult, to be disassociated from your emotions is catastrophic. It's a big deal. You are no longer a caterpillar, you're a butterfly. And from the perspective of the butterfly, if it doesn't break out of the cocoon, this is catastrophic. It dies. So if you, from an adult human perspective, if you don't eventually reassociate with your emotions, you in part die emotionally. Your emotional sensitivity is diminished. You can become prone to physical illness. Your endocrine system, your immune system is compromised. Your emotional intelligence is reduced or becomes non-existent. You lose this sensitivity to the emotion in the environment around you. All addiction is a symptom of disassociation. Addiction is the habitual response to avoiding your feelings. And we go into addiction either through substance or process. Substance is you're ingesting things, you're drinking, you're smoking, you're eating. This is why people become overweight usually. Or it's a process. We become addictive in our habits. We're always looking at the telephone or the TV or the computer screen. People become sex addicts, they become gym addicts, they become workaholics. It's a way of taking yourself away from your feelings. It's a way of dealing with your feelings. But it's even more catastrophic in that we lose touch with our inner guidance. We lose touch with our ability to trust our own intuition, to trust our own feelings. And so we become shut down. And then you lose the ability to tell when someone is lying to you. You don't know, you can't feel it. Someone's saying something, it sounds logical, but they may not be telling you the full story. And if you were fully tuned in, you would feel something's not quite right, and you would start questioning it. Whereas if you're out of connection, then they're giving you a good story. Away you go. We say in this, bullshit baffles brains. And so here we are, I'm getting a good story, and so I'm taken in by it. Disassociation is so common that most people talk about their intuitional feeling state as something that's considered fanciful or delusional. You think, oh, your intuition, oh, that's just airy-fairy. It's not real. Hang on a minute. Your intuition is a significant aspect of your ability to experience the world. To lose connection with your intuition ultimately means you lose connection with trusting yourself. We put our authority outside of ourselves. This whole idea is, I am my own authority. It has to be me as to whether this is real or not for me. It doesn't matter what the experts say. What do I feel? The expert says I should feel this way, but I'm not feeling that way, and I've lost connection with my feelings. Well, I'll go off with the expert. Sometimes they're right, sometimes they're not right, but it's up to me to figure out what's right for me. I have to be my own authority, and in order to be my own authority, in order to take the power of my life, I have to be connected to my feelings, to my feeling state. And we're told, let's be rational, let's be logical. But it's rational, logical people who develop the atomic bomb. It's rational, logical people who pollute the environment. It's rational, logical people who are bankrupting the economy in order to protect us. Logic and rationality are okay if they're tempered by feeling and intuition. In the kingdom of your awareness, the king is your rational mind. The queen is your emotional sensitivity. But if we've shut down the queen, she's been locked up in the tower, and the king is about business and warfare, and the queen is about shopping and decorating. There's a balance. We need our family to be looked after. We need the finer things in life, plus we need to make sure we're protecting ourselves and we're providing. So in most people's kingdom of awareness, they're disconnected. The queen is locked permanently in the tower. And because of this, we've lost connection with our internal knowing. And the only way we can judge whether something works or not is through logic, which makes us vulnerable to being manipulated and controlled. Because it's important to use your logic and your rational thinking, but you must have a feeling. And so the most significant thing you can do for your health, peace of mind, and for your family is to increase your emotional sensitivity, your emotional intelligence.